boogeyman is real, and you found him.
All right, you primitive screwheads, listen up.
What's blood for, if not for shedding?
I'm your number one fan.
I like to dissect girls. Did you know I'm utterly insane? We all go a little mad sometimes.
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
7 days.
I am Dracula.
We have such sights to show you. Boy!
I said, I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm just gonna bash your brains.
I am the eater of worlds and of children.
What's in the fucking box?
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
One by one we will take you.
Never get out of bed again!
You gotta be fucking kidding.
It rubs the lotion on its skin or else it gets the hose again.
Welcome to prime time, bitch!
Welcome, horror fans. It is Wednesday, 7 p.m. Central Time, and it's time for another episode of the Week in Horror podcast, the only podcast available from Transylvania all the way to the Black Lagoon. And if you, dear horror fanatic, are listening to us at the top of the week, remember we do this live right here on YouTube every preceding Wednesday, so be sure to come and hang out with us in the live chat. With this week, we are looking back at select horror films released June 30th through July 6th. Thank you all so much for joining us for what will surely be a bloody good time. I am your host, JL, and I hope you are having a fantastic evening. Thanks so much for hanging out with us tonight. Oh, so many people in the live chat. I see a whole bunch of people there. And we have got all kinds of stuff to talk about tonight. But before we do anything, let's make sure we put up that Patreon banner. There's all those amazing people down there who help us to make the show possible. We do appreciate your support. We could not do this show without you. So thank you very, very much. And let's see who we have in the live chat. Let's see who we've got. First and foremost, they were Raven Darkstar was here. Good to see you. It says, hey, hi, hello, everyone. Good to see you, Raven. Case Cooper as well says, just checking in. Won't be here too much. I'm sitting with a sick cat. I hope your cat is feeling better soon. But appreciate you hanging out and popping in. Sherry Tilley as well says, hey, all. We'll be listening, but mostly in lurk mode. Thank you so much, Sherry. Do appreciate that. Travis Brown's hanging out, says, evening, everyone. Just finished watching the MST3K Beginning of the End episode, and Burt Gordon really has tremendous special effects. Yes, beginning of the end. The way they did those buildings, and then had the grasshoppers like crawling all over them, but the way they did those the building setups and the mat effects in that were just really, I thought were really impressive. So I loved covering that episode with Aaron Reese. Aaron came on the show. There was an episode with him, and we did the whole thing in black and white because all 4 movies were all black and white films. So we just did a black and white episode, a classic movie episode. It was really good. I think that was like in season 4. I think that was back in 4. But there's always a lot of fun, especially MS23K. Always a lot of fun. Running Less Name is here. Says Freddy Krueger leaves janitorial services to start a farm in Field of Dreams. Nice. But good to see you. Gabba to you, sir. I hope you're doing well. Road No Name says, now I'm picturing Voorhees and Jason and the Argonauts. Jason versus the Argonauts. Absolutely. Joshua Lee is here. Good to see you. It is Wednesday once again, my dudes. It absolutely is. We do this every Wednesday. Left-Handed Jedi, good to see you as well. Thanks so much for being here today. Let me see. Sarcasm has been a member of the Army of the Dead for 11 months. Let us know, how long have you been a member of the Army of the Dead? You can post up those milestone chats, which I think are really, really cool. But I appreciate that sarcasm. Thank you so much for that support. Angel Rivera says, what up, horror fiends? Good to see you, Angel. Hope you're doing well. Dib as well is here. Good to see you, Dib. Appreciate you hanging out. Cindy Sue, good to see you. Thanks so much. I was a little bit just trying to make sure if anybody, if any of the other hosts were joining me, that they would have time to pop on. So I was trying to give them a little bit of a warning, a little bit, because you never know. So, but good to see you. Let me see. Sarcasm says, watched House of a Thousand Corpses again today, and it keeps getting funnier every single time I see it. Yes, I love going back and watching Old House of a Thousand and Devil's Rejects. 3 from Hell. Zombie, you let me down. I know we lost Sid, which just broke my heart, but at least you got a little bit with Sid. But and Richard Brake. Love Richard. Brake is amazing in everything that he does, and there's great chemistry there, but kind of let me down because it was Devil's Rejects 2.0. It was kind of the exact same formula with a little bit of added, although I thoroughly did enjoy the showdown in Mexico with the little guy and the luchador gang. It's fucking hilarious. But yeah, I love watching old school zombie. Let's see. Travis Brown says the marketing for Long Legs is crazy now with a website you can look at for the backstory and a number to call. Yeah, they're doing really good on the marketing for Long Legs. I'm seriously looking forward to that one. Charlie Welch is here. Good to see you. Says, yo, good to see you. The only man on the internet you never make a bet with. Good to see you, Welchie. Lieutenant Jenny says, I just watched the old Gargoyles made for TV movie from 1972. We used a clip for them in the Terror Tube once. I can't remember when, but I remember we used a clip that when he's in the bed and the gargoyles coming up over the edge of the bed. So, but I remember that one. Yep. Let me see. Rodnell Sam says there's talk of a Gargoyles reboot, probably meaning the Disney show, and there needs to be. And I mean, this is so not horror, and this is kind of hard. It's kind of like is a callback to my youth, but we need a Gargoyles Gummy Bears crossover. I'm just gonna lay it out. I'm just gonna set that right there. A Gargoyles Gummy Bears crossover right there. That's my non-horror take for the night. So, Tang Whistle, good to see you. Thanks so much for hanging out tonight. I do appreciate it. Let's see. Yeah, okay, I was a few minutes late, Raven. I was a few minutes late. It was a little past 7. Charlie Wood says jail is never late, just early for the next one. Thank you, Charlie. Do appreciate that. Castellar Daniel Garcia is here. Good to see you. Says Heretic looks good. Heretic does look good. The trailer does look fantastic. Hugh Grant has really, I love Hugh Grant, and I don't think that I've never seen a thing I haven't enjoyed it. Like, hell, I liked him in Notting Hill. I liked him in friggin' Dungeons and Dragons. There's nothing that guy can't do. So looking forward to Heretic big time. Alien X Gaming is good here hanging out. Says, what's up, you sexy motherfucker? Good to see you, Alien X. Appreciate you being here tonight. Cindy Sue has been a member for 8 months. Member of the Army did for 8 months. Thank you so much, Cindy Sue. You rock. Appreciate that. Apparently, yes, Angel. I am Gandalf in disguise. I'm never late, nor am I early. I arrive precisely when I mean to. Let me see who else we got here. Ivy Gentry's here. Good to see you. And I think that's... Oh, Bill Cobb's passed away today. Oh, that's a shame. Joshua Lee says House of Thousand Corpses had a good old-fashioned Mexican standoff. I wouldn't say a Mexican standoff. I would say the standoff stuff kind of happens in... so the stand-up stuff kind of happens in Devil's Rejects, and then you have the, I would say that did happen in 3 from Hell. So I would say that. But 3 from Hell has its moments, but, what are we going to do? And yeah, Raven, we are aware of that, and it's one of the things that we're going to talk about. So one of the things we're going to mention. Paracord Princess is here. Good to see you, Paracord, who's been a member of the Army of the Dead for 8 months. Thank you so much, Paracord. Do appreciate that support. And here we go. So, few things to talk about tonight. It's a shame that one of the guys isn't with me because obviously we have some good stuff and there's some good news, some awesome news, and unfortunately some sad news. And we got a trailer that recently dropped that we're going to take a look at. So, but first and foremost, for those who were not aware, it finally did happen. Because it might have been getting a little close there for one of these guys. But John Carpenter and Robert Englund are both getting their stars in the Hollywood Walk of Fame. So Robert Englund, who is obviously our Freddy Krueger, and John Carpenter, my favorite director of all time. As you can see in my office, I'm kicking myself that I didn't get the opportunity to meet him when he was in Texas. But you never know; he's still out there. Maybe one day maybe I'll get the shot. I know I'm kind of like playing it kind of close, but John Carpenter and Robert Englund are officially getting their stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, which is absolutely amazing. I do not know specifically where on the Hollywood Walk they're going to have those stars, but you can guarantee that I will likely, next time I am in Southern California, that I will be going and visiting those. So that's pretty awesome. So yes, about damn time. It's about damn time that one of the greatest horror directors of all time, and of course Robert Englund, one of the most iconic character actors in Hollywood, in the modern era, that they finally got their stars in the Walk of Fame. But they got it. So John Carpenter and Robert Englund. We love those guys, love everything they've given to us. Their filmographies are amazing, and it's so awesome to finally hear them getting honored like that, which is just cool as shit. So, show your love down in the comments below. Definitely show your love for John Carpenter and Robert Englund. So, the other bit on this, which is a little bit of Hollywood news that came out of there, unfortunately, Donald Sutherland did pass away. And so we lost one of the most iconic actors, one of the most legendary actors that I grew up with, and I first became aware of him probably in my mind, kind of became aware of him, like really aware of him, probably in Virus, that was like 1998, I think is when Virus came out. I think it was like 1998, and because I saw it in theaters. But Donald Sutherland has been just a legend, and of course, going all the way, his career just extends so far back. But of course, everybody knows him from Invasion of the Body Snatchers, 1978, and a number of other films. MASH as well is where my dad knew him from. So, and where my mom and my dad knew him from. And then, I saw him portray Hawkeye in that film as well. He did the little whistle thing. I'm not going to try and copy it. But Donald Sutherland was an absolute freaking legend. There was nothing that man couldn't do. And I think no role that, he couldn't run with. I fucking loved him in Fallen. I thought he was fantastic. His chemistry with Denzel and John Goodman was fantastic. I loved him in that. There was just nothing he couldn't do. So, so many movies. And we have so many memories of Donald Sutherland's performances. And for those who loved him, obviously, the Hunger Games trilogy as well, where he played Snow. But, there's so many things that that he did. There's so many memories that he leaves behind. But apparently, and of course, his son Kiefer put out a tribute on Instagram following his father's passing. Apparently, he'd been sick for a while. He was 88, so he'd been pretty sick for a good while. Been fighting it off, and unfortunately, we lost him. Travis Brown says, "I am with JL that I don't know what first film that I saw Sutherland. I think." Though I became aware of him as an actor in Virus. Jamie Lee Curtis, Donald Sutherland. Can't remember who else was somebody else that was in that. But anyway, nonetheless, but yeah, just like evil robots, magical alien lightning brings robots to life and shit. But Fallen, he was fantastic. He was great in that one, and as a supporting actor, as a supporting player to Denzel and John Goodman. That was just a brilliant fucking movie. So, but yeah, unfortunately, rest in peace, Donald Sutherland, 88 years old. But we have a magnificent filmography full of all types of genre films, horror films, comedy films, action films, whatever you name it, the man did it. And we will have that to look back. I mean, I think there was one he did called An American Haunting, which was about the Bell Witch legend in Tennessee, the Tennessee Bell Witch legend. So if you haven't seen that, that's a little known one that he's done. But he did he did obscure films, big films, doesn't freaking matter. He was a performer to the very end. So thank you so much to Donald Sutherland. Let us know down in the comments below your favorite Donald Sutherland film, kind of remembering the man and the legacy that he left for us. Let us know down in those comments, or weekinhorror@gmail.com, your favorite Donald Sutherland film. So many good ones. I think Fallen's up there. Invasion of the Body Snatchers, he was amazing in that. Oh, so many good ones. So many good ones. Definitely. All right. And, Kelly's Heroes. Fantastic. Yeah. 1994, The Puppet Masters. Oh, gosh. There's so much good stuff. Really, it was. I mean, let's see. Yeah, I could go on all day. All day. Sorry, I got a message right there. But I could go on all day about the films of Donald Sutherland and which ones were his best ones. Fucking hell. Now I'm sitting here reminiscing, of all the stuff that he had done. MASH was 1970. 1970 was MASH. Son of a bitch. That was a fuck. So many. Ad Astra, yep. Measure of a Man. Hunger Games, obviously, yeah. Treasure Island miniseries, yeah. That was back in 2012. But going all the way back to his Buffy the Vampire Slayer. When he played Buffy's first Watcher. Before they went to the TV series. He was at JFK, Oliver Stone's JFK, Backdraft, freaking amazing. There was one that he was in. There was one, see if I can remember it. So Man, Spies 1974, Alien Thunder, fucking there's MASH 1970. There was one that he was in. It was like 1970. Was in the 70s. Had to be in the 70s. After Invasion of the Body Snatchers, because that was 78. Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Where was the? It was the one that had the sequence when he was coming out of the water with his daughter. Where his daughter passes away, and it was like the surrealistic horror film. Winds up getting stabbed in the neck towards the end by the little small person. I can't remember the name of that. What was the name of that film? Oh, I can't recall. It'll probably come to me in the middle of, like, I'm talking about something else. It's going to pop into my head. Like, I know it's in there. I know it is. But yeah, legendary actor. So definitely let us know down in the comments below your favorite of Donald Sutherland's filmography, because he had so much he left us. It's absolutely amazing. Adding in memoriam vids to front row. That might be a little sarcasm. That might be a little too much of a downer. It's just, personally, I think it might be a little too much of a downer. They're in the Daily Splatter. Daily Splatter. We remember them. We remember them then. NA, good to see you. Thanks so much for being here tonight. Do appreciate you hanging out. Make sure I didn't miss anybody while I was reminiscing. I didn't. Good. All right. Well, yep. Remembering Donald Sutherland. And of course, we have a new trailer to share with everybody. We have a trailer that I went and pulled. I pulled this one. Now, yes, I am aware that the Nosferatu trailer, that Robert Eggers trailer for Nosferatu did drop. I'm aware of that one. And I didn't pull it for a number of reasons, but we did pull something else so we could take a look at it. We briefly mentioned it last week. But here's the new one. And of course, thank you so much, NA, for gifting 10 memberships to the Army of the Dead. Enjoy all those emojis that I've made for you, all you new members. Thank you so much. I do appreciate it. And we have the trailer for Smile 2. So let's check this out. Let's cue up the terror tube.
Oh my God. Your arm. There's something crawling inside of it. What is it? I don't know. What's happening? I don't fucking know. They're fucking alive. Things are fucking alive at me. It's bad. They're fucking bad. What the fuck? Hi. The killer is here. He's wearing a mask of my face and he's forcing me to record offensive hate speech and Hello?
Sky!
What?
No! Get away from me!
What? What is it?
Get away from me!
Louis? Something really crazy is happening to me. I keep seeing this face everywhere.
You witnessed a death. Now it's latched onto you.
Stop smiling at me!
That's a pretty cool shirt you got. Want me to sign it?
Yes, that was the trailer for Smile 2. And given that I enjoyed the first one so much, I'm kind of looking forward to this one. And the trailer kind of, the trailer gets me. I like it. So you've got a lead actress, new lead actress in Naomi Scott, who's playing a kind of Lady Gaga style character who is being pursued by the Smile Demon. And of course, also starring Rosemary DeWitt and Lucas Gage, Kyle Gallner, and if I remember correctly, totally lost her name. But the returning actors, we do have returning cast from the original film. So, and I know that Kyle Gallner and Sosie Bacon, Kevin Bacon's daughter, will be returning from the first film. Rosemary DeWitt, it will be joining them as well. So it looks interesting, I will have to say. And I think it looks like a good opportunity to add on to the kind of like I don't want to say the universe they're building, because universe building is becoming so passe in Hollywood, but the kind of like the world that they're building that the Smile Demon operates in. So I'm kind of curious about them adding to it or what's going to happen. And I have the distinct impression that this is going to be leading to a third film, like a finalizing trilogy. That's my guess, is what I'm thinking. So, but yeah, that was the trailer for Smile 2. So, when does that do they have a release date? Expected October 18th, 2024. So it'll be an October release this year, supposedly. That could change, subject to change. And let us know. Curious about Smile 2? Looking forward to it? Down in the comments below at weekinhorror@gmail.com. Did you enjoy the first one? Looking forward to this one? Did enjoy the first one? Nah, you could pass on this one. But apparently, Josh Lee says, apparently your glowing review of the first movie isn't shared, JL. See, I know that not everybody enjoyed the first Smile. Okay, enjoyed the first film. I know not everybody dug it. It hit for some people. It didn't hit for others, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. Plus, I thought the acting was top notch. There wasn't an actor in there I thought dropped the ball at all. I thought it was strong across the board with a good narrative and an opportunity to provide a sequel, as long as they don't sequelitis it, Now, I know we're going to get some interesting visuals in this one. Obviously, you're going to have to capitalize on that, try to expand, make it even creepier. The big kind of like power visuals in the first film were obviously the sequence at the car when she runs and gets in the car, when Sosie runs and jumps in the car, closes the door, and her sister walks up and the head comes down. And of course, the reveal of the Smile Demon at the end when it does the whole crawl into her mouth and everything. There's a couple of major pieces that the film is kind of built around, and I know we're going to have some of that stuff here as well. So the question is, how are they going to run the narrative, and are they using the second film as just a prop to get to a third film, to get to that point? So I don't know, but I'm curious. I would say 60-40. 60-40 on Smile 2, but let us know down in the comments below, weekinhorror@gmail.com, if based on the trailer that you saw, whether you enjoyed the first film, if you're looking forward to it or not. And no, I'm not polishing a turd on this one. I enjoyed it, and I thought there were good elements about it, and solid acting and good writing. So I didn't have an issue with Smile. I didn't. It's not the best possession film I've ever seen, but I thought the visuals were striking, and I thought Sosie Bacon knocked it out of the park. That she was really free, and Kyle Gallner as well, because I love Kyle Gallner and everything that he does. If you haven't seen The Passenger yet, definitely go check that one out, because he's amazing in The Passenger. Absolutely, just brilliant. So that, and the movies like Cleansing Hour, The Men, or what was it? There was that last one goes by. It's a Men in Black alien philosophical piece, but he does fantastic work no matter what. So Fallen was an amazing possession film. Exactly, Fallen was fantastic. So, but yeah, I actually am kind of looking forward to this one. Trilomelogeles rodent. If you can make money off it, why not make a trilogy? What are you gonna do? You got to leave it open. Even the stuff that I've written, I've left open for the possibility of a trilogy, of a possibility of a minimum a sequel. You never know what's going to happen. So, but I suspect that they're angling towards it, that Parker Finn is going to be working towards a trilogy on this one. I greatly suspect it. I do. All right. Well, after watching that, that was pretty much what we've got to get through. So, what do you say we dive into our horror films tonight? What do you say? Because we got some interesting ones to talk about, some good stuff to talk about. So, first on the list, released June 30th. Can you believe it's the end of the month? We're coming up on the end of June. I know that this is the 26th, but coming up on the end of June, halfway through the year, halfway through 2024 already. Time flies when you do a weekly podcast because the time, doing the prep, like that. Yes, Omni Ouroboros. Oh my God, look at that horrible thing on the screen. Yes, the thing is just taking over my face. It really is. So it is a sentient entity, the beard. It is. You ever see that Cyanide and Happiness about beards? This is one of them. So, but released June 30th, 1998. Going back to the 90s and late 90s in this one. We have Watchers Reborn. Let's check out this trailer. Cue up the terror tube.
Hello? Hey, will you help me?
I'm coming! Oh, no.
That's never a good sign.
It's time to play. Hide and seek.
Classified experiment.
AE-74 was genetically engineered for the military.
Unleashes a reign of terror.
And partner in their line of pieces. What the hell's going on here?
A brilliant geneticist.
Whose idea was that?
Mine.
And a lone detective.
Never seen a man kill like that.
Become the #1 targets of a government conspiracy.
Orders are to terminate the project.
Just tell me what the hell's going on here.
If I tell you, I will be putting you in danger.
To erase anyone who has come in contact with the outsider. Watchers Reborn. Now, in a race against time.
He is psychically linked to the outline.
Let's get out of here. Move!
They must outrun the fence.
Tell me, could you describe this thing if you had to?
Face a killing machine of immeasurable strength.
You ready, buddy? We're over.
Mark Hamill stars in Watchers Reborn.
Yes, that was the trailer for Watchers Reborn. So, Watchers Reborn, directed by John Carl Buechler, and which you should know from the Friday the 13th series, and written by Dean Koontz. Dean Koontz, who wrote the novel. Sean Dash did the screenplay, starring Mark Hamill, yes, Luke Skywalker himself, Lisa Wilcox, Stephen Mock from Graveyard Shift, and Gary Collins. The film is loosely based on the even though it is propped up as is posed as a sequel to the 1988 horror film Watchers that starred Corey Haim. This one is actually more directly based on the novel Watchers, written by Dean Koontz, and the story follows an intrepid, kind of like burnt out detective and a beautiful geneticist as they try to escape, as they discover this super smart dog that was part of a government project and was bred alongside this ultra horrible monster. And the dog and the monster are psychically linked. They're trying to protect the dog while trying to escape the giant monster, and they're being pursued by the government agents that want to put a lid on the whole project before it becomes public knowledge. So this one is okay. For those unaware, obviously, Watchers Reborn is technically the fourth in the franchise. There were 3 Watchers films before this, going all the way back to 1988, and the Watchers 2 and Watchers 3 were, in no uncertain terms, were abysmal. Watchers wasn't the better of the three of them. But Watchers 2 and Watchers 3 were absolutely abysmal. Watchers, the first one with Corey Haim, kind of tried to do what they thought was best with the movies, but unfortunately did not capitalize. The interesting thing about Watchers Reborn, and I think I'm gonna sit on this. I'll die on this hill. Is that Watchers Reborn, despite being the fourth film in the franchise, is actually the best of them all. So 1998 rolls around. It's 10 years after the first one. We've already had 3 Watchers films, all of which did absolutely abysmally. But this one actually pops up and takes a lot more from the source material, from Koontz's source material, than the other films did. The focus was put where it needed to be, and that was on the dog. That was on the dog and the relationship with the dog to the monster. That was placed on Mark Hamill's character, because in the book, for those who have read the novel Watchers, which is a magnificent novel, if you haven't watched it, it'll break your heart. It'll get your pulse pounding. Magnificent fucking one of, I think, probably the second Koontz novel I ever read. The first one was I think Darkfall was the first one I ever read, and then I went on to Watchers because it's fucking amazing. And many elements from the book do make it into this one, which is why I think that Watchers Reborn is actually the better of the 4 of them, the best of the franchise thus far. It's closer to the source material. It puts the focus on where it needs to be, and Buechler's direction is far more, I would say, Buechler's direction does a far better job of translating the material from the page to the screen than I think any of the other directors that handled this franchise beforehand did. He knows how to put the camera where it needs. He knows where to put the camera. He knows how to frame these sequences. He knows what's important. He knows what drives the plot, and he knows what to put on screen in order to foster the audience's attention to where it needs to be for the plot to go. Now, ostensibly, it's not even that complex of a plot in of itself. Bad guys chasing good guys, pretty much what it boils down to. So where it gets it is, I think, the influence, because the big influence on this one was the effect of dang it, I totally spaced out. I was looking for his name, and I spaced on his name. Son of a bitch. Sir Kevin says, I hated the OG Watchers because I read the OG, because you read the book. Absolutely. He does, yeah. King does mediocre plots with good characters. Koontz does mediocre characters with great plots. I love Koontz's characters and his plots. I mean, the tone of their books are wildly different. Stephen King will allow his endings to be bad. Not to be bad in quality, but will allow. There's not always a happy ending with King. With King, sometimes the endings are almost Pyrrhic in nature. Where the good guys had to expend, almost everything just to break even, just to come out on top, and it almost feels like they didn't actually win anything. So, and his focus is on trauma and the ghosts that follow us and the repercussions of trauma, and how like a lot of things that Zombie tends to focus on in his filmmaking is the long-lasting effects or the domino effects of trauma and violence. King focuses on that, on the human psyche, on the depths of the human psyche. Koontz tends to slide things towards the happy ending. That good triumphs over evil, white hats over black hats. The bad guys are easily recognizable. Many of his stories wind up where the bad guy winds up. I think you're searching for stupid ending. No, I'm not. And true, screen adaptations of King never get the endings right. You are correct on that. So the big thing on Watchers, on this one was, and not to mention Kane Hodder was in this one as well. Kane Hodder was in this one, and musical legend Lou Rawls was in this one as well, as a brief cameo as the coroner. But Kane Hodder was in this as a shopkeeper, and he did a stunt where he gets grabbed and he gets thrown. So, but because he was a stuntman, that's what he does. But it was fucking Roger Corman. Roger Corman EP'd this film, and you can definitely tell the Roger Corman effect. Okay. So even though I think Buechler has his own talents that he brings to this, and you can see it in his direction, it's very, very deft direction. The Corman effect in how you can obviously be seen in how they handle the monster. Okay, not just the design of the monster, which, by the way, is more in line with the monster in the book, which is more baboon-like. It's more it's like basically a giant mutated baboon. And it was Roger Corman. Yeah, rest in peace, Roger Corman. But the Corman effect and how the monster is lit, how the camera frames it, how the camera moves along with it, and not to mention bringing in the sympathetic side of it. Corman loves his monsters, has always loved his monsters, but there's always a balance between the human element and the monster element, which I've always dug in his films. That it's never always black and white with Corman. Okay, and so I dug, or even I mean, he loved his complex characters, and I love that they handled this as well. That both Corman, as an executive producer on the film, obviously his input was in this as well. John Carl Buechler as well. You can see his magnificent work. Mark Hamill thought did quite well with with the script. His script doesn't have to be that complex, and it was well shot. It has action elements and like that. Stephen Mock is appropriately bad guyish. I've loved Stephen Mock since Graveyard Shift. So many good stuff, like a bunch of good stuff there, and everything works in conjunction. Essentially, you get what you expect. You get what you expect in Watchers Reborn. Okay, this is not one of those horror films that's going to win anybody any kind of awards. It's an adaptation from a novel. It's it's the fourth one in the franchise. I believe it went straight to DVD, if I remember correctly. But what I can say is effectively you can skip the first three films. First one was pretty much resting on Corey Haim, didn't utilize the dog well enough, and of course was way too dark. Okay. Second one, monster looked even worse. Was just and it would look like, to be perfectly honest, looked like it was edited with a goddamn chainsaw. And the third one was just fucking rock bottom abysmal. Just terrible monster, terrible acting, terrible script. That was just like, as bad as it could be. But Watchers Reborn, surprisingly and effectively done, hit all, and that this is where the kicker is. Despite the fact it's a horror movie, you got a monster running around, it's ripping the eyeballs out of people because it doesn't like things looking at it, ripping the eyes out of people, tearing shit away, wreaking havoc across town. But they hit all the necessary sympathetic notes because that's what the heart of Koontz's book was about. The heart was that this was a horrifying monster that at its core was sympathetic. Okay, that the dog never wanted to be in this relationship, never wanted to have this antagonistic relationship, that even the dog itself was sympathetic towards the monster's plight, even though it was terrified of it. That's what he was trying. The monster was no Shockma. That's true. No Shockma. Shockma was, never pulled a punch. But that's right. I actually thoroughly enjoyed this one more because the monster looked decent, was more in line with the book, and the characters actually succeeded in what they were trying to convey the story. The one big difference is Stephen Mock's character, because Stephen Mock, they made the slight change with Lem Johnson, I guess, to add to the more like the action element to it. Because in the book, Lem Johnson is kind of starts off like the government guy doing a job until eventually you find out he's a good guy because he winds up letting them keep the dog, which is pretty cool. He's like, yeah, dog's gone, all right, and even though he knows the dog is alive in there, so. But yeah, ultimately, it's not a terrible film. It's well shot. There were some sequences that were shot at night, ostensibly because, you want to hide the monster in some cover of darkness, but there were plenty of moments where we could fully see what was going on. So they balanced that very, very well, and that takes really, really strong editing, and of course, the good input from Corman and from Buechler himself. Buechler, who I think did a fantastic job, because it was Buechler who actually owns. Buechler actually not only just a director, he's a director, I believe he's a writer as well. He's acted in a few things, produced a bunch of stuff, but he also owns his own special effects company. The special effects company that worked on this one, the special makeup effects that worked on this one and designed the monster, that's Buechler's special effects company. So he brought his own people, his own crew in, which, given that he was, he owns that's his business. He had a hand in making up the monster himself. So as a director, he goes in knowing full well what he's going to be working with. So that's what I love about Stan Winston. It's a brilliant process. When Stan was designing Pumpkinhead, okay, Stan Winston's big directorial debut, when he designs Pumpkinhead, when he was in the process, he's in there as the designer making the monster, but then at the same time is thinking like, how can I shoot this? What can I do with this? How can I make this so this will look amazing? And that's why Pumpkinhead works so fucking well, because the designer of the monster was also the director of the film and knew exactly what he wanted exactly what he needed and put that thing together so that it would shoot beautifully. And that's what Buechler did here. And I thought he did quite well. So I have to give him credit on that one. Not to mention, plus the experience he's bringing in. Buechler was behind. He does a lot of work with Charles Band's group with Empire Pictures. Worked on Troll, Friday the 13th, 7, New Blood, Jason, right there. My big guy. Stellar Dweller, the Ghoulies franchise, Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. So the guy knows what he's doing, which I really, really thoroughly enjoyed. And unfortunately, he passed away in 2019, which is such a damn shame. But left us a fantastic filmography of both makeup effects and the stuff that he directed as well. He directed Dungeon Master back in 1984. Yeah, that was Buechler. So awesome stuff. Really, really good stuff. So if you haven't had an opportunity to watch Watchers Reborn, if you hadn't had the opportunity to check this film out, and I saw that Sarcasm has not. So if you haven't watched it, I'm not going to spoil anything about it or how it winds up. Okay, like I said, they made some significant changes from the book, but that's because you're going to have to do that as far as a film adaptation. But they do keep, I think, the most important parts. I think in order to make that story flow, which is why this one is the best one of the entire franchise. Of all the Watchers films, this one's got to be the best. Yeah, I'll give it on that. So definitely. But my question is, for the audience tonight, for y'all, the question that I have, really, Raven Darkstar, Pumpkinhead meh? You're killing me. You are straight killing me. Let me see. Raven Darkstar said, "You just reminded me, JL. They did comedy movie of the Fall Guy. I'm so tired of make drama TV into comedy movies." Oh, great. I'll agree with that. Yeah, they keep making movies out of books I've already read. Pumpkinhead meh. Pumpkinhead was amazing. Now Pumpkinhead 2, 3, and 4. Pumpkinhead 2, Blood Wings, and then 3 and 4, not great. Okay, obviously because it wasn't Stan Winston behind the wheel, but Stan Winston, he designs the monster. Lance Henriksen. You can't beat that. That's amazing. That's amazeballs. Got some love for Pumpkinhead in this live chat. But yeah, the question that I want to ask the audience, because Watchers was based, obviously, was adapted from the Dean Koontz novel. Now, I don't know how many of you out there are Koontz fans. I am a huge Koontz fan. It's one of the Koontz and King were like books that my mother introduced me to. Because she was a big King fan, big Koontz fan. I got to, when she was done reading, I got to read them as well. So the question I want to ask the audience, what has been y'all's favorite Dean Koontz novel? And he has a lot, okay? Not as prolific as King, but still many. And he's got like several series that went there, several characters that I love that he's done a number of series like the Odd Thomas series that's gone on for several books. So, he's got recurring characters that he utilizes. But let me know your absolute favorite Koontz novel down in the comments below or weekinhorror@gmail.com or here in the live chat. My number one favorite Koontz book is Watchers because I love dogs. And it's a golden retriever. Dean Koontz is a golden retriever fan. He has golden retrievers as well. It's why if you ever see a Koontz adaptation, there's a dog in it. It's always a golden retriever. But I loved Watchers. Watchers was my favorite. Phantoms was really good. Darkfall was fantastic. Strangers was magnificent. Loved Strangers. Odd Thomas was good. Lightning was good. Man, so many. Strangers was fantastic. So many good stuff. I mean, I could go on and on, but the Circus Freak one, Funhouse. There you go. Demon Seed, also a good one. That was about the evil AI, the house that turns against. But yeah, let us know down in the comments below or weekinhorror@gmail.com your favorite Dean Koontz novel. Intensity was good, and the adaptation was good. It had John C. McGinley. Intensity was a really, really solid one. So many good ones out there. But let us know down in the comments below. Only Red Watchers, Tony Regime. Tony Regime, good to see you, bud. Thanks so much for being here tonight. But Only Red Watchers, you gotta read some more of them. He's got some good stuff. Odd Thomas, thank you. Josh Lee, Odd Thomas is good. Omnior Sports says, I'm not a Koontz fan. Gotta check him out. He's got some good books. Got some good stuff. Really does. Didn't Winston work on The Thing? Predominantly that was Boughton. That was Rob Boughton who worked on The Thing. And I believe that was Winston did a little bit of work on The Thing. But it was predominantly Rob Boughton spent a year solid, like a year straight, working on The Thing. We had to be hospitalized for exhaustion for the work that he did on that one. So there's a legendary story about The Thing. But yeah. Odd Thomas series is fantastic. Yeah. Sir Cab says that's another CTA that I might be able to give a top 5 list. Awesome. Fantastic. Yeah, I love going back and just kind of like skimming through old Koontz books that I've read, and King books. So his plots are fantastic. They really are. Really, really good stuff. All right, let's move on to our next one tonight. We're a little ahead of schedule. We're probably spend some time on this one. I was anticipating like Eugene being here because he seemed to be really excited about Fear Street Part 1. So, but that's the one we're going to talk about. Released July 2nd, 2021, Fear Street Part 1, 1994. And to answer Joshua Lee's question, yes. Okay, you know what question you asked. Yes. This is the first in a 3-week binge. Yeah, we're binging the whole trilogy. So let's kick this off with the trailer. Let's cue up the terror tube.
What the hell?
This is exactly why you have no friends.
Look, some guy killed a bunch of people at the mall last night.
Holy shit. Another shady side tragedy. Fits the narrative, right?
Sarah Fear's back. Christ, not you too.
There's no angry, dead witch. The only thing that made him go crazy is this town.
The dude was wearing a Halloween skull mask. How is that not fun? Guys, I think there's someone in the woods.
We're together for one night and dead people are trying to kill us. Maybe we are doomed.
She was so sexy, but so crazy.
Normal bitches don't bleed black blood.
How do we not die? I'm looking at you, witch nerd.
You can't stop it.
Yes, that was the trailer for Fear Street Part 1, 1994. Oh, yes, and it literally gave away like the 3 weeks we're going to be doing this one. But Fear Street Part 1, 1994, came out obviously 2021, but directed by Lee Janiak, screenplay by Phil Grazidi and Lee Janiak, based on Fear Street by R.L. Stine. So yes, the man behind Goosebumps and just pretty much the frights of our youth. R.L. Stine's Fear Street series, starring Kiana Madeira, Olivia Scott Welch, Benjamin Flores Jr., Julia Rewald, Fred Hetchinger, Ashley Zuckerman, Daryl Britt Gibson, and Maya Hawke. Yes, Ethan Hawke's daughter in that opening sequence, as well as Jordana Spiro, Charlene Amoya, David W. Thompson, and Jillian Jacobs, who pops in at the very, very end of this one. But yes, where can we start with this one? So for those who have not had the opportunity, the entire trilogy is on Netflix as we speak. So if you have Netflix, you can go and check it out there. But ultimately, Fear Street Part 1, 1994 is an absolute wonderful, just beautiful, wonderful nostalgia fest. That's what the whole thing is about. From the opening sequence, which is an homage to 1996's Scream, obviously with Maya Hawke, doing the Drew Barrymore role, and of course that whole sequence in the mall, and then throughout you'll hear it from that moment going forward. Literally from that whole sequence, even him running up behind her, like that, they with like Ghostface and Drew Barrymore. So from that moment forward, it is nothing but just nostalgia button hits, just dopamine hits every single time you turn around. Everything from the music to the wardrobe selection, art design, even the cinematography nods. Cinematography nods are all straight from the 90s. It's wonderfully and beautifully done. And there's just homage is paid to virtually every single major director, a horror director that we grew up with. Craven is in there. Carpenter is in there. I'll probably say Buechler's in there as well, but a number of them is an absolute fucking list. Sean S. Cunningham as well. You gotta fucking love this one. So the film, the whole like trilogy is set in 3 different time periods ago. This one's set in 1994, where the residents of there are 2 towns that are like split, I believe, by like a forest. I think there's like a forest between them, but you have Sunnyside and you have Shadyside, and they have their own kind of rivalry going on. Well, apparently Shadyside has a legend of this witch, the witch Sarah Fear, and occasionally is, she is blamed. She's the urban legend that's blamed for the tragedies, the almost weekly tragedies that take place in Shadyside. And Sunnyside is always giving them shit for being like, that's where the terrible, it's like the bad side of town. That's where all the terrible people live. And, it's like horrible and crime and blah, blah, blah. And of course, things get far more complex as the trilogy runs on, as we get more backstories to what's going on. And of course, what's behind the curse in all of itself. But this particular one runs it as a pure, unadulterated slasher with some fantastic effects and wonderful acting across the board. I thought everybody was fantastic in this one. Beautifully shot, lit. For those of you who are audiophiles, the soundtrack on this is just going to floor you. It's going to absolutely floor you. I thoroughly enjoyed this one. Holy crap. I mean, to list all of the songs, it's like they tapped into the playlist of my youth, because I was like 14 when these events would have taken place. So JL, RL, is there a connection? I'm not going to confirm nor deny that, Omni. I'm just not. Sir Kev says, JL keeps saying our youth as if half of us aren't older than him. Tis disrespectful and ageist. Ha ha ha, sarcasm. It was I was 4. I would have been 14 when this was going down. Raven Darko says 1994, the worst year of my life, followed up by 1995. That sucks. I'm sorry about that. 14 wasn't a great time. I mean, 14 wasn't a great year. I don't think a great year for anybody, but I have to admit, the music was amazing. The music was great. I loved hanging out with my friends. We were all growing up. I was growing up at least. Sorry. Don't mean to be ageist on that. But yeah, this was definitely a callback to that. The beauty in this one, I think, is what we talked about last week when we were talking about movies like where the scary things are, is that there are no stupid characters in this one. R.L. Stine, and that's the beauty of his writing. R.L. Stine does not waste time on his youthful characters, because they're geared towards young adults. You don't want to represent young adults as being stupid. That's essentially, when you're writing YA, you obviously don't want to write youthful characters that are your protagonists, who are supposed to be young adults. Don't want to write them as idiots, because you alienate the reader. But that also works from a cinematic perspective as well. We don't like stupid characters. We don't like them because we can't sympathize with them. We don't care. We just want them to be cannon fodder. In this one, you wind up caring about every single person that's on the screen. Or you say, so that person needs to get smoked, or I don't want anything to happen to them. The relationships that are fostered here, the chemistry that is here, it's wonderfully cast across the board. There's fantastic moments across this, not from both there's a lot of fucking Wes Craven in this. Big influence, you could tell. But I thoroughly enjoyed, Brave Dark says 90s music. Nope, 60s, 70s, 80s. I like 90s music. I also like 60s, 70s, and 80s music. 80s music predominantly is my favorite decade, but there's some 90s music in there. Not to mention there's some choices that it wasn't like they just popped open the Hot 100 for 1994 and then took like the top 20 songs. They didn't do that. Okay? These were all popular songs in 1994, but they were ones that were like, there were some genre songs in there that I thought were kind of like, you knew them, but you didn't hear them all the time. They weren't like, radio across the board where they were just like, where radio play just ruined them. That's why I love this stuff. That's why I loved it. So good, good stuff. And the film does a magnificent job of bringing, in my eyes, of bringing Gen X to Gen Z. Okay. Now, this is where I think that the connection between, and I think it's so important about Fear Street, is that the connection between R.L. Stine's insight into young adult audiences as far as horror goes, or as far as horror, thriller, or psychological horror, whatever, the kind of like the finger that he has on the pulse of what drives the young mind, and Netflix's understanding of that which connects to audiences today, and recognizing that this is what's so brilliant about it. The problems that we are so keenly aware of today by virtue of social media, okay, those were still there in the 90s. We just weren't as aware of them. That's the kicker. They were still there were still issues that kids dealt with. They dealt with their sexuality. They dealt with how their parents looked at them. They dealt with how their peers looked at them, clique groups and all kinds of shit, and people being afraid of who they are and growing up and all, you know, the high school is hell, the thing that Buffy gets so right. All of that was there. We're more keenly aware of it now in social media by virtue of social media. Now everybody gets to bitch about it and everybody gets to see it. But back then, we didn't have that. People were more apt to be in their heads. I know I was. My friends were. So people were just more apt to be in our heads, and we have our small little clique of friends. And that's what I love, is that Netflix and R.L. Stine did a magnificent job of ensuring that the problem that we can identify with the problems that we are keenly aware of today, and recognize that those things existed back in the past. Because I think a lot of kids, the kids that will watch Fear Street today don't really have a sense of what it was like in the prior generation, or maybe 2 generations prior. It just doesn't resonate with them. Gen X issues are not just, you know, they're not going to resonate with I guess Gen Y or whatever it's not millennials, it's whatever or Gen Z. It's just not going to resonate with them, you know, as keenly. It does with us because we were there. But for them, I like that that they bridged that gap. Okay, that they connected those 2 generations, that these things are common. And that's really, really spoke to me. The narrative was fantastic. Not to mention, because we're all slasher films and horror film fans here. Blech, I can't talk. The kills were magnificent. Okay, opens up first 10 minutes. You know, fantastic sequence, homage to Scream, but then you got an homage to like fucking, you know, Sam Raimi and shit. You know, when shit goes down in the when shit finally goes down in the fucking in the grocery store, the bread slicer one, pretty gnarly. But there's some fantastic, you know, like moments in this one. Some good Jason style kills, Friday the 13th. Good Nightmare on Elm Street moments. Lots of beautiful homages, you know, in all of this. I can see Wes Craven, you know, I can see Wes Craven's fingerprints all over this whole thing. But I love that. The narrative is so wonderfully built and it flows so well. There may be some that would say that it ran a little on the long side, because this thing is dang near 2 hours long. I think it was an hour and 58 minutes. It was pretty much 2 hours long. It's long, but they pace it so wonderfully well. The editing is top notch. We get to spend time with these characters, because remember, we're going to be spending time with them over the course of a trilogy as we reference back and we jump through time. So we've got to be able to establish them strong and establish their relationship strong. So we do spend a lot of time with the characters. We do a lot of character building. We get into their heads, which I think is one of the things that makes R.L. Stine great. We always were able to connect with his characters. In the Goosebumps series, whatever else, or the Fear Street series, whatever he was writing, we always got to connect with those characters. And that's why Goosebumps is still my favorite, books. I grew up reading those. Fantastic shit. Probably way more influential on me than I give them credit for. But, you know, fucking love it. It's fantastic shit. And I think that no matter how young you are or how old you are, you know, that this will resonate with you in a number of different ways. So if you haven't had an opportunity to watch, I'm not going to tell you, obviously, I'm not going to spoil anything on this one. We're still within the moratorium. I'm not going to break anything that, you know, as it comes up, but it's very, very good. Okay. I think you'll thoroughly enjoy it. I don't think there's a bored moment in it, with some fantastic sequences, you know, as the kids move through as the kids go on their journey through Shadyside, trying to figure out what's behind this thing and trying to solve this issue, and, you know, begin to realize things are way more complex than they anticipated. So absolutely fucking, and none of the drama feels forced. That's another good thing. Like the way that Janiak directed the actors in this was fan-friggin-tastic. Allowing those characters to build naturally and not feeling like any of the character drama that existed there was forced in any way, which I really like that. So, firing on all cylinders, fantastic, and a fantastic start to the trilogy. I can't wait to get into the next two. I really can't. I know, God, Fear Street was amazing, really good stuff. But the question that I want to ask, and hey, Extra J, good to see you. Thanks so much for being here tonight. So the question that I want to ask the audience tonight, Fear Street 1994, full of nostalgic moments, okay? For those of us who, grew up during these times, hits that nostalgia button all over the place. But I want to know, for those who watched it, what was your favorite nostalgia moment? Was it a song? Was it a sequence? Was it a kill? What in Fear Street Part 1, 1994 was your favorite nostalgic reference? Okay? Throw them down there in the comments or weekinhorror@gmail.com. Love to hear what you guys think. The one that kind of hit you where you're kind of like, oh, yeah, that moment. That's the moment I'm looking for. Where you're like, oh, it just gets me, like Janiak gets me. Janiak's such a fantastic director, Lee Janiak did, I think, Honeymoon 2014, which is the magnificent one, with Rose Leslie and Harry Treadaway. That was one I showed a clip of it in the Terror Tube, but that was the one where the wife, they're newlyweds on a honeymoon, and the wife gets abducted by aliens, starts like devolving and shit. Yeah, that was a freaky one, and of course, that was Janiak's feature debut. So fantastic stuff. But yeah. Let us know. Sir Cam says, I'll let you know in the comments after I see it tomorrow. Fantastic. Sounds good. Oh, I fucking love the red. Okay, another one that hit me. Now, I don't want to spoil. Well, okay, no, it was 1994. Is that there's an AOL reference in there, and it just like hits me like, like AOL. I remember that shit. So, but you guys are going to love it. You absolutely will love it. Favorite nostalgia moment. So, it's on Netflix. Check it out. If you have Netflix, you're going to love it. All right. See, that's the kicker about not having, like I've said it before, not having a co-host. Have these moments where I can't talk. And I got to kind of like, wet my whistle and everything. And I hate dead air. I can't stand dead air. All right. I think we're back on track now. Yes, we are. So let's jump on to our next one for the night. Released July 4th, 1985. Yes, Independence Day. July 4th, 1985, we have the Dutch horror film, The Lift. All right, I hope you all dig this one. Let's check out this trailer. Cue up the Terror Tube.
It's Marie. Don't touch it! She's gone. They never come back the same. It's the kindest thing we can do for her now, Saul.
Mama said she was a baby. Saul.
That shark got air. Oh, I love it.
You happy working with this stuff?
Oh, sure. It's easy once you're trained. The microprocessor's in there. That's, what guides the lift.
Oh, yeah. Chips and all that, It's too bad that other guy went wacko on you.
Oh, Brooker.
Yeah. He took a long time with that last checkup.
That's all there is. There's nothing else on the Rising Sun in our files. Can you tell us about the computer in America?
It came equipped with the latest kind of chips. A chip made out of pure organic material. Should it continue in use, the danger is it could reprogram itself.
Deep inside this vertical city, a machine has come to life. The lift has made itself smarter and deadlier. The man responsible for making it safe is trying to make it stop killing. Take the stairs. Take the stairs. Take the stairs. For God's sake, take the stairs. Modern technology gave birth to the lift.
Yes, that was the trailer for The Lift, which is a Dutch science fiction horror film, written and directed by, I'm probably going to murder these, so if we have any Dutch members or any members of the audience in the Netherlands, I do apologize. But Dick Maas, I believe is how that is pronounced. Dick Maas wrote and directed it, starring Huub Stappel and Wilke van Amelrooy. I believe that's how you pronounce those two. I think so. So don't hang me if I mess those up because, obviously my Dutch is not great. But the film follows, obviously, an elevator that is updated with the latest technology, with apparently a fully organic chip, and mysteriously after a lightning storm, magical lightning, it begins to function intelligently on its own, where victims who go near the elevator or use it are killed. Now, it's an elevator. Yes, it is an elevator. But yes, there was also an American remake, a remake made of this, an American remake starring Naomi Watts that came out in 2001, titled Down. Not good. If you're gonna watch, that was just even worse than this one. The problem with The Lift, so that the American remake was even worse than this one, but The Lift itself is not a terrible movie in the sec, but also not great. Raven Darkstar, no, I will not attempt those names again. I will not. So, I won't. I did them once. Sarcasm says, oh my fucking God, I really tried to watch this today, but the dubbing voice acting was so insanely bad and I couldn't find a Dutch with subs, so I was forced to bail after 15 minutes. Okay. Yeah, the body falling through the ceiling access scene was one of the pics in the back of the VHS cover. Yeah. So, okay. So this particular one, this is interesting. Okay. One thing that's important to note is that The Lift essentially kickstarted the Dutch horror film genre. It's this movie is what gave the Dutch kind of like their moment to jump and start capitalizing on the horror genre. Dutch horror films weren't really a thing, like legit horror films weren't really a thing. There were psychological thrillers, but mostly they were folk related, okay? But not really horror films in that respect. The Lift is what really kind of kicked it off. And so that's when, in the Netherlands themselves started really diving into the horror genre, which makes this one kind of important because it was Dick Maas that really kicked this one off and took a chance with this one. Now, obviously, 1985, and this is the Netherlands, first time out doing a horror film. I have to give credit for the kills that are in this, but you'll find them to be somewhat tame. Okay, what horror? Killer clogs? Right. So, but the film in itself is rather tame, and it spends an inordinate amount of time on a bunch of secondary and tertiary character building stuff. So you're gonna get the relationship between the primary. Remember them by their names, between Felix and Mika. Felix and Mika are the two that are investigating the lift, or investigating the strange lift that people are dying around. But then you also have Josine van Dalsum, who plays Saskia. And Saskia is Felix's wife. And so and there's like this weird kind of love triangle thing going on. But the character of Saskia really comes more off like comes off very, very shrewish, kind of somewhat inattentive, not a great mom, not a great wife, really more concerned with herself. And so Felix, being a very dedicated to his job kind of guy, Felix winds up working in close relationship with Mika, even though nothing happens between the two of them, but the wife winds up, so there's all this kind of like generated drama, okay? Not to mention, it seems very much like what was it? Moss wanted his characters, I guess, like constantly thinking about sex because there's a lot of like forced moments. Funny, she doesn't look shrewish. Very funny. Legend Jen, I like that. She doesn't look shrewish. But there's a lot of forced sexuality. These forced sexual moments to kind of drive it. Otherwise, you just have people talking, which I think Moss may have inserted because they kind of come out of nowhere. And so I think Moss was inserting those things in order to try and raise the energy level, because I think because they almost feel like they were shot as on reshoots. Okay. They almost feel like they reshot certain sequences in order to kind of get the energy level up. Because I won't lie to you, there's going to be some moments where this movie really fucking drags, especially if you're either listening to it in the original Dutch or you're able to find a subtitle one. The dubbed version is not great because the lack of emotional affectation is just going to drive it even further into the ground. The problem is that it's such a solid story. The idea, the premise of technology becoming center or whatever, or AI or whatever, technology rising up against the creators is one as old as as like classic literature. People have talked about that. I mean, Asimov has explored it. Heinlein explored it. Philip K. Dick explored it. These are not old concepts. And I like that Moss jumped on this and decided to run with the idea and not to mention, not only did it kickstart like Netherlands horror films, but you can see this inspiration as well. If anybody remembers the episode of the X-Files, okay, where the computer, I think it was like a second season episode, or third season, probably second season, where the computer takes over the building, like the smart computer takes over the building, starts killing people against it, that whole thing. I mean, that obviously I think Chris Carter took from The Lift. That's my guess, okay? It's like not new concept. These are not new concepts. Yeah, thank you, Casey Cooper. Sorry about that. So, but I really, I mean, I think that it is, that The Lift is kind of like that unknown springboard that kind of gave a bunch of ideas to other people because it tried to do a number of really cool things and just wasn't quite able to pull it off. Although I will admit, some of the death sequence was pretty neat. That opening sequence was the bomb, where the people, the drunk party goers in the elevator, and the drunk party goers in the elevator are suddenly suffocating to death. It's kind of like they're running out of air. Where was the air going? I'm not sure because they can't control that. And then you've got like the body coming out of the ceiling. You've got the head. The head decap sequence was actually pretty solid. Not as bloody as you think. I would say not as gory, but pretty effective. Good tension building. I thought there was some great moments of tension, especially not to mention the whole sequence when Felix is trying to take down the evil elevator, figure out what's going on, going through the panels to get to its heart and everything. The beating of the heart is getting closer. Very Edgar Allan Poe-ish in that respect. Good cinematography was solid. Good lighting, good sound. I really enjoyed those aspects to it. The combination between the organic and the technological, or the industrial. So you kind of a crossroads between those two. Really, really good stuff. So there's a lot of excellent moments in the film. A lot of good things that I think that a lot of filmmakers today, or going on from then, have capitalized on by taking sequences from, or even inspiring their works entirely, and then running a little bit because they had more money to work with. Because unfortunately, Moss didn't really have a ton of money to shoot this bad boy, which is why we spend more time listening to people talk and deal with character drama than we do dealing with the elevator itself. And then you have the big final sequence where the owner finally comes in, he shoots the fucking thing. And then wildly out of nowhere, like the elevator cable like jumps out like, last gasp, and like grabs him. It's like, that makes no sense whatsoever because it's not whatever. But it has great moments. The whole ending sequence where the elevator is open and the cable's hanging down and he's hanging there like that. And then they just put a pin on, they just put like the period on what they were saying, on the whole theme of the thing. There's some great moments in the film if you can make it through it, because the energy is so low, and you will be inspired to watch other films that do this shit a lot better. Okay, they do it more fun to keep the energy up. Red Queen for Resident Evil, Demon Seed was great technology horror. Pulse was fantastic. We talked about Pulse, I think several months ago. About the evil electricity that's moving from house to house and killing the owners, and the kid and his dad get trapped in the house. So a lot of films that do it a heck of a lot better. That one started the Lawrence brothers, I believe, was in that one. But yeah, a lot of movies that do it a lot better. But here's this little one that came out of the Netherlands. where Dick Moss was trying to run with this. Cube, also a good one. There's a lot of technology run amok films that do really, really well. And I dig this one. He kind of grounded it a little bit in new stuff, utilizing organic material to create, for processing power and to create microchips. It's kind of neat. But then it dives into science fiction with electric fields, magnetic fields, like radioactivity. Then the magical lightning is the Deus Ex Machina, is the lightning that comes down and strikes it. Very, very Killbots in that respect. So, but nonetheless, for those who kind of dig on the history of horror and how these films kind of inform the ones that come along, if you like to see the inspirations that you see where, the stuff that you're familiar with, where they got their inspirations from, I'd recommend this one. It's not bad. It's not bad. It's just going to be, like Sarcasm said, it's going to be tough to sit through because the energy is low in a lot of points. It drags some points. And the fact that you're either going to watch it in Dutch, which I did. I watched it in the original Dutch, or you're going to watch it with subtitles if you can find it, or you're going to watch it dubbed. Not great. Not great, because it just drags down even further. So, Left-Handed Jedi, what was that? Colossus, The Forbidden Project was one of the first movies with computers going haywire. Fuck yes. Excellent. Cube, yeah, Omnivorous Boros, you got it. Cube was fantastic. War Games, great. Terminator, Future World, Videodrome, fucking Videodrome was amazing. James Woods, Cronenberg, fuck yeah. But yeah, fantastic stuff. So, Battlestar Galactica, Cylons. Oh, now we're getting extreme. But yeah, check this one out. Decent little effects, not bloody and gory. Maybe it might be too tame for some people, but definitely avoid the American remake, in my personal opinion. Avoid that one. Okay, check this one out. I think it's important. The focus is where it needs to be. Moss is a capable filmmaker. He knows where to put the focus. He knows what's interesting, and he worked within his budget. The best he absolutely could. I think we got more character, unnecessary character drama to kind of drive the plot than more. We wish we had more elevator kills and stuff. I think those would have been interesting, considering all the unique ways the elevator was trying. Plus, it was sadistic. It wasn't just sentient. It was evil. So sadistic, toying with people to try and get them. So yeah, really, really dug that one. A lot of good elements. But here's the kicker. The one thing that I want to ask the audience. Okay, the one thing I want to ask y'all. What is your favorite, or what do you think is the best, object turned evil horror film? Okay? Where something innocuous, inexplicably for mysterious reasons, or magical lightning or whatever, becomes evil. Let me know down in the comments below, or weekinhorror@gmail.com. So, favorite, or what you think is the best object turned evil horror film. So many good ones. A surprisingly effective one. Y'all are going to hate me for saying this, but a surprisingly effective one is what was it? I want to make sure I get the title right. It was about, I shit you not, it's about an evil bed. It really is. So it was it Deathbed? No, it wasn't Deathbed. What the hell? I don't think it's Deathbed. I don't think it's that. Oh, there was this one. Oh, Evil Speak was good. Yeah, Possessed Computer. Evil Speak was good. Kind of like Pulse with Joey Lawrence. Yeah, like Pulse. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we mentioned that Dylan Prella. Good to see you. Deathbed, the bed that eats people. There was this one where it was like this bed, but the frame of the bed was carved out of the wood of a tree that was like an ancient hanging tree. And so the souls of the people that had been, or the spirits of the people that had been hung on the tree, transferred into the frame of the bed. If they got off the bed, if you got on the bed, you're okay, but if you got off, it killed you. I don't think it's the one. No, not the bed that eats. That was a 1977 film. What the hell was the name of that one? No, because, in Deathbed, it was a bed that was possessed by a demon that consumed its users alive. So that was that one. But there was another one. Oh, damn it. I can't remember. The Dwelling? Was it The Dwelling? Oh, I can't recall. I'm going to remember it again at some point. I know I will. And I saw somebody put up Put up that Donald Sutherland film, the one with where he gets stabbed in the neck by the midget in the red raincoat. Okay, I saw somebody answered that question there, but I totally admit I saw it and then I forgot it again. But no, it wasn't a 70s film. It wasn't Demon Seed or Manitou. Car was good. The Car was fantastic with James Brolin. Fuck yes, the Car was great. Devil Sunday Ride, love that one. Christine is also fantastic. This one's gonna bug the shit out of me. It's a horror film where the City said those are your favorites. Love it. I can't recall it. Dang it. I'll find it eventually. I will. Was it the Dwelling? Oh, son of a bitch. Someone's gonna remember. If you do recall it, let me know down in the comments below at weekinhorror@gmail.com. So, but yeah, someone's gonna find that eventually. I remember it was like 4 people go. Like the whole premise of the film is like it's this special like sex place, and 4 friends are going to have their own little like sex party, and the room in it has this giant bed, but the frame of the bed is made from wood that was carved out of an old hanging tree. And so you get on the bed and everything's fine. But if you get off the bed, then like the bed starts hitting you with like hallucinations and stuff that will eventually wind up killing you unless you get back on the bed. Okay. But if you try to get off, obviously you can't stay there forever. You're going to like, die of dehydration, stuff like this. But if you get off, it will kill you. So that's the premise. And I remember it had a major actor in it as one of the detectives doing the investigating. It's going to come to me. I promise you it's going to come to me. I remember catching it. I'm probably going to have to go back and watch it again. Mangler's a good one as well. Mangler's fantastic. Dylan Prell says, I think everyone is stumped. I'm fucking stumped. I'm going to remember it eventually. It's not Deathbed. It's not Deathbed, the Bed That Eats. That was 1977. This one came out in the 2000s. Yes, Raven, I probably will remember it at 2 a.m. I probably will. Oh, Deadwood, not Deadwood, because Deadwood was about the people in the forest get eaten by the trees and shit. And The Wretched was about, I'm thinking of the Sentinel. Sentinel was about the tree that actually protects the person. Yeah, it has the awesome sequence of the tree attacks people and rips them apart. So, good stuff in that one. Oh, I'll remember it eventually. I will. I'll remember it. Was it The Dwelling? You see, I said The Dwelling earlier. I'm sitting here like all quiet and everything, trying to remember this movie. Was it The Dwelling? Something in the back of my mind. The Dwelling, also known as Bed of the Dead. Yes. The Dwelling, otherwise known as Bed of the Dead. I think Bed of the Dead was its original title, now known as, see, I did know it. And I said The Dwelling, but that didn't sound right at first, but I knew it. And yes, 4 people find themselves stuck on a haunted antique bed where leaving means suffering a gruesome death. Plagued with frightening hallucinations, they must figure out the bed's secrets before they're ultimately picked off one by one. And if I remember correctly, this movie had... There was a name that was attached to this. What was the big name in this one? Can't remember. Okay. I could have sworn somebody that I remember somebody being attached to this one. Oh, well. But yes, The Dwelling, a.k.a. Bed of the Dead. So, Bed of the Dead. That was the name of it. So, thank you, Tony Regime. I was correct. I said The Dwelling. Y'all heard me say The Dwelling, but it didn't sound right for some reason. But thank you very much. All right. Sorry about that. We kind of went on a rant there, There's no co-host to keep me in line. But yeah, we kind of went on a little side journey to find a movie. Bed of the Dead. There you go. There's a recommendation. The Dwelling. So, but let us know down in the comments below your favorite object turned evil. Okay, I'd love to hear whatever suggestions you guys might have out there. All right. Seems like we are just on track. About 124. So I think it's a perfect time to bring up our next one, our last one for the night. Released July 6th, 2001, we have Black River, also adapted from Dean Koontz. Unfortunately, we have no trailer for this one. No trailer for Black River, but the full film is available on YouTube. So if you are over on the Week in Horror Discord, you can check out the full, or you can watch it on YouTube. Or if you prefer not to, if you're on Discord, it is linked there as well. So you can actually, it's linked in the trailer section. So you can actually watch the full movie on YouTube. So this was a made-for-TV movie. And make sure I have this pulled up and everything. So yes, it was made for television. So there's going to be a little bit left to some solid bits left out. Created by Gene Koontz, and of course the screenplay was by Daniel Taplitz and directed by Jeff Bleckner, starring Jay Moore, Lisa Edelstein, and Ann Cusack, as well as, because that's not the entire, because television, you're always going to maximize it. So Jay Moore, you recognize him. Lisa Edelstein from House. Ann Cusack of the famed Cusack family. Ron Canada, Bill Dow, Scott Hylands, Dion Luther, Stephen Tobolowsky, one of my favorite actors, and Ty Olsen from Supernatural fame. You should remember him from that. Ty Olsen and Fulvio Cesare. Fulvio Cesare, it was awesome seeing him in this because he's one of my favorite Canadian character actors. You might remember him from, what was it? There was a SWAT show, a Canadian Flashpoint. I think it was a show called Flashpoint, and he was amazing in that one. And then he was also in Person of Interest, where he played the main bad guy, kind of like the nemesis to the lead guys in that one. But Fulvio Cesare is fantastic. But a whole bunch of people that will pop up and you'll recognize, oh, I know them. But the film itself follows a writer who, played by Jay Moore, who visits a town which turns out to be more than it appears to be. And as he begins to realize that things are not what they seem, he tries to escape the town, but the town won't let him leave. Now, given this one came out in 2001, we basically say that the town itself is being run by an AI. Okay, that calls itself Pericles. For those who remember the name, Pericles is the founder of Athens, and so the AI is is identifying people to bring to the town and trying to build essentially kind of like a utopia, kind of like utopian society, but the people there can't leave. So gilded cage and all. And of course, it follows Jay Moore as he uncovers the mystery and determines what the heck he's going to do. Now, this is the problem with television. I would not just say television films. With made for TV, we're going to lose a little bit more than this if this had been like a feature release or a direct to DVD release. The same thing occurs pretty much across the board in that the themes that are in this are exceptionally deep. And Dean Koontz is known for exploring deep philosophical themes. That his works are rife throughout them, particularly morality and epistemology and ontology and a number of other, Teleos, shit like that. But Koontz that's fantastic in literature. Koontz exploring these topics always goes really, really good because we can spend time. We internalize books differently than we internalize film. But film, especially made for TV film, is always going to give you a very, very shallow exploration of these themes. You're never going to get into why these things are horrific and why essentially the kind of reductio ad absurdum, or the conclusions that they lead to abject absurdity or complete nightmarish incoherency. That's the whole point. Sir Kev says horror philosophy lecture incoming. Well, that's the kicker on this one. The idea, the concept is Kafka in nature, okay? Where essentially you're in this idyllic place that has all the imagery of what you would anticipate and expect, and ultimately what you think you would desire, but in actuality is the gilded cage. It's all an illusion meant to kind of like, think of it very much, it's touched on in so many different films. Resident Evil, the very first Resident Evil film did this with, they go down in the elevator, they're in the little lobby area, and then the walls light up and it looks like the outside cityscape, when in actuality, they're like 20 stories underground. It's the illusion of being outside. It's so that you can ignore what's obviously very, very wrong with what's going on. The normalization of the unnatural, okay? That's the kicker, okay? That's the big thing on this one. These elements of Kafka, elements of Dostoevsky, you'll see these running rampant throughout all of Black River as Jay Moore's character attempts to make sense of what's going on. He's uncovering bits and pieces, and the body starts discovering the bodies and what's happening. And everybody else seems blissfully unaware of this. So is it he who's crazy, or is everyone else just blind? What the hell's going on? You get into concepts of identity, and none of them get explored the way they need to be explored because of the media in which we are internalizing the storyline. The psychological and philosophical journey that Jay Moore's character is on, that the character Bo is on, is extraordinarily important. And unfortunately, and this is where I'm gonna jump on this. While he did well, and everyone else, I enjoyed everyone else, the casting of this. Everyone was great. Lisa Edelstein was great. Ann Cusack was great. Ron Canada was fantastic. Everyone was solid. Steven Tobolowsky was fantastic. He's a great character actor. The only thing that was miscast in this was Jay Moore. Okay? Hot off Jerry Maguire. But I don't think that this role should have been played by Jay Moore. I'm not saying that he failed it or dropped the ball. I think he Jay Moored it. He brought Jay Moore energy to it. Okay? And Jay Moore, for all of his talent, I don't think I've never seen him give a performance that had the nuance that the role of Bo would need. Because Bo is a writer, and if they drop the hints of the kind of work that he does. So the character's supposed to be very introspective. Okay, not so much inside his head that it ruins the ability to connect with other people, but the character is supposed to be a thinker. Okay, he himself is very philosophical in that respect. He approaches things from that very cerebral aspect, whereas Jay Moore just kind of responds to stimuli and kind of bounces off the walls. Goes high, goes low, as the scene demands. And while it's serviceable, and he's got good chemistry with Lisa Edelstein and Ann Cusack, he's got good moments. He's a talented actor. I don't think he can do this justice. Is the problem? Is that this character was not written for him. There are a number of other actors, especially in 2001, that could have easily done this a lot better. Okay, and I think could have run circles around Jay Moore on this, and given the deeper, nuanced internalization that is required in order to convey the story. Tim Daly would have been awesome. I would have cast Tim Daly in this in a heartbeat. Tim Daly is great at being open and vulnerable and being, I would say gregarious, but he can also turn inward and do really deep introspection. He probably would have been cheaper than Jay Moore at the time. So that's my own. That's the way I would have cast it. Someone like Tim Daly, I probably would have jumped on that one. You'll notice that when you watch this, he kind of Jay Moore sticks out like a sore thumb. It's like he's the odd man out. Like he himself is playing against a really well-developed backdrop. And so it was kind of distracting in that regards. And not enough focus on Jay Moore's relationship to the unveiling horrors around him. That he is trapped. He can never leave. That everything is essentially being held. The whole setup gave me vibes of the Twilight Zone story. If you guys remember that one, the Twilight Zone story where the gangster dies and wakes up and he's like in this beautiful penthouse. There's a guy who's like, yes, sir, welcome. Enjoy your stay. Beautiful women are there that always want him. He wins every single, like pool games. He wins with one shot. He wins every single hand of cards when people come over to play, but he can't leave. And then he realizes, despite all the beauty and opulence of what he's got, he's actually in hell. And you get a lot of vibes from that, but they never dig into the meat, which sucks because you want them to so badly. Okay? Especially when we break into the whole plan, like what exactly is the plan? And Steven Tobolowsky kind of becomes the mouthpiece. He goes from the salesperson who's selling people on the amazingness of this town to essentially the mouthpiece for the AI. And he nails that characterization shift, beautifully. But we never explore the kind of like ideologies behind that led to this enough to give it any kind of weight. So, and I blame the fact that this went straight to TV. on this one, which just it's such a fucking bummer. And Dean Koontz created it, but he's not the one who adapted it, and the screenplay wasn't his. And I believe if Koontz had been maintained, just like Storm of the Century was magnificent because not only because because King wrote that the teleplay. Okay, he was the man behind that, and that's why I thought it played out so extraordinarily well. Whereas Koontz developed it, it was his story, but he's not the one who adapted it. And so I think that disconnect from Koontz's mind to the paper is really, really relevant. It's really, really, evident here. Yes, and I see a lot of people Tony Regime has brought it up in the side chat. There's another movie that came out starring Jesse Eisenberg and Imogen Poots called Vivarium. And Vivarium nails these things 100%. Okay, that is how you explore the Gilded Cage, where you're not really there to live and enjoy your life. You're there to serve a purpose, and that the cage is just there to kind of like take the edge off the fact that you are a prisoner. Okay, Vivarium explores those themes wonderfully. That's how you do it, and you see how dark, how like oppressively dark Vivarium was. That even the bouts of even the attempts at release, like to try and like deal with the stress or to cope with what's going on, are dreary in and of themselves. There is no coping with this. It's all illusory. That is the darkness at the end of that tunnel, at the end of that exploration, where it literally devolves and you almost feel into like abject, complete, and total fucking nihilism, to almost to the point of self-destruction, just to try and escape, And Black River has such an opportunity to do that, but never fully capitalizes. In fact, I'm not terribly a fan of the kind of Tales from the Crypt, easy way out ending that the screenplay took, which I don't think that Koontz himself would have wanted it to end that way. Okay, some people may disagree. Some people may just say that it ended the only way that it could, and I can see that it would be much harder to end it in a different way, and it may have been that they chose that ending because it was the lightest way that they could end it. But that's not the point of the story. And I think that most people who sit down and watch this, while there are entertaining moments, I think ultimately you may be frustrated by this because it's the unwillingness or maybe the inability to go where the story is supposed to go. And that's the kicker. Because you have to make allowances for how we internalize various subjects through various media. Okay? And deeper philosophical subjects are best internalized through reading, okay? Or maybe even short form, maybe video content, but not in a made-for-television film like this. A feature film, certainly, because now we have plenty of time to really dive into the characters and the effects on them. That's the kicker, okay? So Black River, despite being from Dean Koontz, don't let it fool you. Okay, there's obviously some moments there that are very, very Koontz. The German Shepherd, the Golden Retriever is there as well, and it opens up with this heartbreaking sequence where he's trying to like bury his dog and everything. It's kind of sad, but it all feels a little on the forced side to try and get us to bond with a character that I think ultimately was miscast. Like we're bonding with Jay Moore, who I don't think does dark really well. And we're opening up. He's trying to find a place to handle his recently deceased dog. That's how the film opens. And he never quite gets to the depth he needs to, like the internalization of the grief and the pain, and how he's leading that. That's his driving force behind why he winds up in Black River. So that's the kicker on that one. I wish I could say more about it. I don't want to spoil too much, because I know there are people who haven't watched it and didn't get a chance to watch it yet. And I definitely won't spoil how it ends or what goes on with the various characters or how they interact or some of the moments. There's some interesting special effects sequences that I think will pop off pretty decently, especially for 2001. Interesting stuff, old technology that you recognize or things that people thought were going to be hot, but didn't really play out in the mid 2000s. But good character acting. Decent moments, really, really excellently designed backdrop. Like the backdrop that Jay Moore plays against is really, really solid. It's, shot pretty much formulaically, exactly what you would expect with your typical wides and your two-handers and your 2Ts. And, it's pretty much just ballpark film school stuff. Nothing extreme or lavish. It doesn't need to go above and beyond, unlike a movie like Storm of the Century, a television series like Storm of the Century, which really went above and beyond to try and, to utilize the best that they could. This one's pretty much formula, but, by the numbers, formulaic filmmaking. Because it's all it needs to be, unfortunately. So, but ultimately, here's the interesting thing. And this is what I kind of want to ask the audience in regards to this. Black River came out in 2001. The source material is fantastic. The characters that Dean Koontz created are great. They're deep, okay? And the storyline, while we're very familiar with this notion, okay, of the gilded cage scenario, it's very, very familiar. The thing I want to ask, given that it's from Koontz, I think that Black River is worthy of a remake. That even if it's straight to DVD, I think a straight to DVD remake. But if there was a director that was willing to take this thing on and take this story to the level or to the length that it is meant to go to, okay, where the characters that are supposed to be creepy are creepy, the characters that are supposed to be dangerous are dangerous. I want these, there so that we give this film the kind of depth that it deserves. Or I would say Koontz's characters and Koontz's story, the depth that it deserves. So that's my question to y'all. And it looks like, we might be wrapping up a little bit early. But that's my question to y'all. Is Black River worthy of a remake? Because I think it is. But some of you may not feel so. This may be one of those throwaway kind of like, TV movie deals. You're like, we needed something, so we went in and shot this, throw some people some paychecks, and then move on with their lives. But I think it's worthy of that. But then again, I may be biased. I love the gilded cage trope. I love exploring Dostoevsky and Kafka and a number of other philosophers who explored the idea of, or even security for freedom and shit like that. I love those concepts. And so that resonated with me and frustrated me because I wanted them to go deep, and they never really do, even if, there's some hints of Lawnmower Man in there as well, kind of like, but ultimately they could have done so much better with what they had. So let me know down in the comments below, weekinhorror@gmail.com. Do you feel that Black River is remake worthy? Love to hear your thoughts on that one. So maybe a series to have time to get into the meat of the story. That would be good, Lieutenant Jedi. Absolutely. Remake on Netflix. Yeah, that could be very good. Sir Count says, don't think I'm going to bother watching it with so many better movies in the same vein. Agreed. Totally justifiable. I can agree with that one. Vivarium is so much better. Yeah, I would say that. That's right. The Stephen Cabot episode. What was it? That was Travis Brown. What did he say? Yeah, the Sebastian Cabot episode. Yep. So yeah, but definitely check it out if you so desire. I mean, there are a lot of ones that I think are a lot better and explore these themes a lot more deeply. But this one just hints at them. You can kind of see the horror down a ways, but we never have the stones to approach it and address it head on. We just kind of there it is, but we don't want to shy too much away. That's made for TV for you. That's the thing that aggravates the most out of me. But for those who are willing, if you recognize these themes and you can look deep, you'll recognize them for what they are. But then you'll be even more frustrated because Jay Moore just never really internalizes them, not as well as he could have, or not as well as as another actor could have. So, that's the take on that one. All right. Well, that's pretty much it. Let us know down in the comments below your thoughts on that one. And of course, that last ETA. But that means that's our last film to talk about. So that means it's that time. And you know what time it is. It's trivia time. I am never going to get tired of that, Raven. I'm never going to get tired of it. Never, ever. So tonight's trivia question for y'all. Be the first person in the live chat to get the correct answer to this, and you will get a special item from the Week in Horror store. Here is your trivia question. Get those Google fingers ready. Google fingers ready. Yeah. What was the designation of the monster in Koontz's 1987 sci-fi horror novel Watchers? What was the official designation of the monster in Koontz's 1987 sci-fi horror novel Watchers? Okay? What was its official designation? Okay? Hint, I'm looking for the anagram. All right. So, be the first person with the correct answer down in the live chat. You will win a special item from the Week in Horror store. Let's see what we got. I got the live chat up now. I know people are hunting for it. People are hunting for it. Someone's going to get it. This is going to be a quick one. I have no doubt. Some people may get the wrong name. They may get the wrong one. Okay. Sarcasm is the first one. Yeah, Sarcasm got it. It is Oxcom. The monster, the outsider in the original Watchers novel was called the Oxcom. And I'm not gonna try and break down exactly what that stands for. But yes, it was the Oxcom. So congratulations. Ivy Gentry was right behind. There you go with Oxcom. Yes, sir. Well done, Sarcasm. You haven't been on the board in a while. All right. Congratulations, Sarcasm. Actually, it says there were two monsters. I remember watching it, but can't remember much else. So there was the Oxcom, there was the dog, and then there was the bad guy that was chasing them. But yes, it was called the Oxcom. Congratulations, Sarcasm. You haven't had one in a while. Let me make sure I've got your shipping details updated. So if your shipping details need to be updated, message them to me or email them at weekinhorror@gmail.com. Outside experimental combat mammal. Off the dome, remembered from the book. Well done, Sarcasm. Well done. Outside experimental combat mammal. So goofy. But yes, the Oxcom. So well done, Sarcasm. We'll get that printed out and shipped to you ASAP. Congratulations. And that, Horror Fiends, even though it's a little bit early, we did kind of ran kind of fast. We didn't have a trailer on the last one. But that is going to conclude this episode of the Week in Horror podcast. But it was just me tonight. So I want to thank you so much for joining us. We truly hope you enjoyed the show. And if you did, smash that like and subscribe button. And be sure to hit that bell so you never miss a future episode. Join us next week when we look back at the claustrophobic sci-fi horror Meander, the second installment in R.L. Stine's trilogy, Fear Street Part 2, 1978, the 80s monster mash Monstroid, and the classic campus slasher, Splatter University. Be sure to check out Josh Olsen's store at badsamurai.store. He does all the awesome artwork. You see splattered all over our merchandise, which you can find over Teespring. And for more from Week in Horror, check out all the bloody links down in the description. Follow us on the socials for the Daily Splatter. Join us on Discord for watch parties, big announcements, all kinds of shenanigans. Support the show through channel memberships, super chats, super thanks, PayPal, or even through our Patreon, where you can join us for as little as $1 a month. Links down there. Check them out. Join the list of all the names you see running on the banner. As always, a giant thank you to each and every single one of you for being the greatest audience a horror film podcast could possibly have. I love you all. You guys are amazing. I am JL. We will see you all next week. And as always, stay scared.